Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Shahzad Raza. I am a myeloma specialist at Cleveland Clinic Toxic Cancer Institute. And with me is Dr. Majid Jaberi-Douraki. He's a computational mathematician at the K-State Olathe. We are both presenting this innovative data to our oncology community and our patients' populations about the disparities on a global perspective as far as the multiple myeloma has been concerned, how this has been treated in the United States compared to rest of the world, what toxicities we are seeing them, and we are trying to link the pharmacovigilance part to pharmacogenomics part to come up with a precision therapy. So I will let Dr. Majid Jaberi to review the data with our audience.
Hello, as my colleague Dr. Reza mentioned, my name is Majid Jaberi-Douraki. I'm an associate professor at Kansas State University in the field of mathematics and data science. Our poster here is about disparities in multiple myeloma, and we looked at the global perspective on drug toxicity trends. So we looked at FDA database, which is a real-world database that provides the largest data sets available right now for patients in multiple myeloma. We looked at reports about those patients. There's roughly around over 400,000 patient records. And we used some statistical methods to review the data and try to identify signals that are hidden in such a massive data sets. One of the methods we use is called odds ratio. It's actually based on odds ratio, advancing that and using some Bayesian techniques called EBGM, empirical Bayes geometric mean, and that will help eliminate much of the noise in the data and identify signals that were masked by the volume of the data. So I'll let Dr. Reza also speak.
So this is an interesting data from the FAERS database that we have seen it. You can see how the mortalities and the hospitalization has been decreasing dramatically in the United States compared to the rest of the world. We don't know exactly why, because that's the limitation of our retrospective data. But that's a real-world data. Real-world data tells us exactly what is going on in the world based on the FAERS, which is the patient-reported outcome, physicians reported outcome, and the consumer reported symptoms of the patients. Now you can see here in this graph that mortality was higher among Asians compared to North American and Oceania population, and the North American has done pretty good compared to rest of the world. And one of the question always come up that generally the US is pretty early adopt new innovative therapy for their patients. So a lot of drugs like carfilzomab, pomalidomide, all these new myeloma drugs have been approved in the last 10 to 15 years time. And that's where we are starting to see a trend that the treatments are changing. Possibly that's the reason we are seeing less toxicity. I would say mortality is less for the North American compared to rest of the world. But again, this is an hypothesis. I can't say this is the real reason, but that's where it's leaning toward. That was the best possible explanation to us.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Raza. So we looked at the data from different system and organ classifications. The surprising thing when we look at it was related to cardiotoxicities, cardiovascular toxicities. We found over 10% of the data were linked to cardiovascular toxicities, and they were more likely seen in EU with an odds ratio larger than 1, reporting odds ratio, and also North American and Asia compared to the rest of the world. As well as we saw some nephrotoxicities was reported about 5% of the data when we look at the whole 400,000 patients. And it was seen more in Africa with odds ratio over close to 3, reporting odds ratio compared to Asia, which was around 1.2, and also EU and North America. So one other finding was related to peripheral neuropathies. and that was also more frequent in EU as well as Oceania. However, when looking at all the central nervous adverse events, we observed North American female also showed higher prevalences. If you look at here, this a little bit showing that results here, which is green, but it's a little bit over 1. And at the same time, we saw mortality was higher among Asia, as Dr. Raza mentioned, and EU compared to North America and Oceania. EU was probably a bit high until 2016, but declined much fast since then. So that, as Dr. Raza mentioned, it could have been due to the approval process or other mechanisms that delayed the approval of some of the drugs. But it could be other factors also involved. Some other findings was also related to skin neoplasms. We found 5% of skin neoplasms, and that was also very prevalent in Oceania and EU, while North American was the lowest among others. Thank you.
So the trends of toxicities is, you can see it's more like our treatments methods are translating into some different toxicities in different regions. You already, Dr. Douraki has mentioned about cardiovascular toxicities, but I want to specifically tell you about the peripheral neuropathies, how thalidomide was used commonly in other parts of the world compared to the United States. So you're seeing possibly peripheral neuropathies more. It's one of the plausible explanation. Use of bortezomib twice weekly compared to the United States, where we commonly use once a week bortezomib, it could be another possible factor. But when you combine all the central nervous system toxicities, now the data can get skewed because now you have so many other reasons, so many other manifestations. So if we just make it focus on particular unique toxicities, you can see the way we practice, that's the way we are starting to see the adverse events in the different regions. Same thing for the malignancies, what Dr. Douraki was mentioning is skin neoplasm. So we know that skin neoplasms are more seen in Caucasians or the communities where there are white populations. So we are seeing this particularly in Europe and Oceania. That's the trend. And while the other cancers you are seeing in the different geographical location. So these things do, the way we practice do matter, how these toxicities are changing in different parts of the world.
Thank you so much. I would like to end by mentioning that we are working on a platform called Intelligent Medicine Recommender System, IMRS. That platform hopefully is going to help us identify the best treatments and minimize the toxicities, drug adverse events, and pharmacovigilance. And it's still in beta version. We are collecting data with the Cleveland folks from Cleveland Clinics, as well as Dr. Raza from Cleveland Clinics and other locations. Thank you.
So I would like to add a few points to our conversations here. So regarding the malignancies, we did talk about the skin, but there are other cancers like the breast neoplasms, and you can see that why it's been seen more in European population. We don't know, but it could be because we are screening more these cancers in particular region. That's how the screening was adopted or how it's been seen more. So we don't know exact reason, but that could be a possible explanations. Now, these toxicities, we are understanding that. We are still trying to learn that why these toxicities are happening. Our regimens are constantly changing. We've been using bortezomib, lenalidomide, carfilzomib, pomalidomide, these IMiDs and proteasome-based regimens. But now we are moving towards bispecific T cells directed therapy. Now this field is even more evolving. Why some toxicities are happening in some patients and some are not happening. So what we are working with Dr. Douraki is to basically understand the pharmacovigilance part first, and then see what is happening at the pharmacogenomics part, and then combine together so that we can have a better personalized therapy, so we can decrease the toxicity in these patients and improve the quality of life. And this is where our work is also going on. In one of our research papers, we have presented about carfilzomib, how this drug can cause cardiotoxicities in some patients. What are the off-target effects we are seeing? So our work is still in progress. but we are hoping that we can come up with the better algorithms through the machine learning approach and through the pharmacogenomics understanding that what specific therapy we can use in our patients who have multiple myeloma. Thank you.